Am I the a-hole for using my now ex after I found out he was cheating? I found out the guy I was living with was cheating on me last June. It hurt, but I couldn't afford to move out, so I swallowed my pride and let it continue. I slowly started to notice that my life was actually better. I didn't act suspicious of him at all. He got bolder and started spending nights, and even weekends away. Our bedroom went dead when I stopped initiating. Honestly, fine by me. He was fine in bed, but I've had better. I got tested. I'm fine. I stopped spending money on any extras. I continued to do the shopping for the house, and I used his half to top up the groceries I liked. I still made sure there was good food for him in the fridge and pantry. I stopped covering small stuff like his dry cleaning. I sold my car and started using his since he hardly used it. I put all my money into a separate account. We never really mingled our money. We only had one joint account to pay bills. It took 7 months, but I saved up almost $20,000, including the money from my car. He talked to me just after the new year about the lease in March. I was honest and told him that I was leaving him, but that I would stay until March as a roommate if it would help him out. He got very upset and said I blindsided him. I said it should be easy for him to find a roommate for our apartment. It is pretty cheap and well located in our city. He said that he wanted me out at the end of January and that he would pay February by himself if I let him keep the damage deposit. I agreed. I moved in with my sister temporarily. He also asked for his car keys back. His side piece moved in almost immediately. Whatever. I ran into them at the farmer's market where I work on the weekends. I introduced myself to her and said she must be Maggie. He asked how I knew her name. I was honest and said I had known about her for 6 months or so. Now I'm hearing from a few mutuals that I embarrassed him and threw a wrench in their relationship. He had been telling her we were just roommates and that I was uncomfortable with him bringing women into the apartment. That is abso-freaking-lutely true. I would have been very uncomfortable. Anyway, he started doing the math and figured out how I funded my exit. He said if I knew, I should have confronted him so we could have ended things last year. I told him to go crap in his hat. Was I wrong for handling things the way I did? Now for the top comments. Definitely not the a-hole. Wow, this is honestly amazing. I'm super impressed you held it together those months. Good on you for saving so much. Times are tough, and you'll need it. My poor car was the hardest part, but when I get my own place, I will make sure it's close to transit. My sister is okay with me being here because I'm helping with the kids and housework. She and my brother-in-law actually managed to get away for a weekend. Not the a-hole. You played it exactly how you were supposed to. Very strategic. He's just mad he was 5 steps behind you when he thought he was 2 steps ahead. Cheaters never prosper. Not even strategic in a sly way, but absolutely reasonable. He did the dirt. Why should you have to put yourself out financially by immediately ending the relationship at the time he cheated? That's going to cost you a huge amount in upheaval to your life. He thinks you should have shouldered that cost based on idiot logic. He believes he should be immune to the consequences of his actions and believes everyone else should be put out instead. I would watch the heck out of the movie version of this post. I did better. I actually moved out and was in a new place, had a new phone number, and left the proof on the counter. He was blocked and blindsided, and I cared not one bit. It was funny. I never confront. I just plan my exit. The most amazing part is he truly believed I was getting rid of stuff to be more minimalist. The day I left, I just had to pack up my clothes, and I was gone by the time he got back from work. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay off my pregnant fiancé's parents' mortgage when they are under the threat of foreclosure when I could easily afford to do so? About 2 years ago, I, 31 male, met my fiancé, 26 female. We have a baby on the way. The due date is in May. I also have a 10-year-old son from a previous relationship. I am a professional musician. My band has a sizable local/regional following. I also privately teach different instruments, mostly to children, and do music production for some significantly bigger musicians and bands. About 3 weeks ago, my fiancé got a call from her mother. My fiancé is the oldest of 3, and her younger siblings are in college. Her mom informed her that they had received a letter stating that the acceleration clause was being invoked on their mortgage due to months of non-payment, and that if they do not pay it off by late February, the house will be foreclosed on. The house had belonged to my fiancé's grandmother before it was inherited by my fiancé's parents about 15 years ago when her grandmother died. The house was paid off, but they took out a mortgage on it because they needed the money. My fiancé lived in the house from the time she was 2 years old. My fiancé has asked me to use my savings to pay off the house. It would be about 15% of my savings to do so. I have a sizable amount of savings. Despite my parents not wanting me to go into music, or at least wanting me to wait until I graduated college, I went into the music industry full-time from the time I graduated high school. It has largely worked out for me. However, knowing the ebbs and flows of the industry, and especially with having a kid so young, I have been very vigilant about saving. Having a substantial savings account is important to me because of my kids. I have one on the way, and potentially want a third. I want to be able to pay for college and help them buy a house, things my parents could not dream of doing. Also, you never know when times are going to be lean as a musician. This is why I am hesitant to pay off their mortgage. Additionally, I am concerned about setting the precedent that I bail out the family. My fiancé is quite upset about the whole situation. She says we would not be hurting at all if I paid it off, and that I have no reason to think I will not continue to make the amount of money I have made in the last couple of years. If anything, there is a good chance it will go up. She sees it as something I could easily pay, but am refusing to do so. I see it as protecting our long-term financial stability. If a foreclosure happens, her parents will get the equity they have in the house and be able to afford a different place. While I know she is emotionally attached to that particular house, I do not think it is wise to sacrifice our financial stability for that reason alone. Her parents need to be in a place they can afford. Am I the a-hole? Wait, are they asking you to pay the arrears or asking you to get it paid off? Because those are two different things. Take it from someone who worked with foreclosures. It can take time. Banks do not want to own properties. They will work with her parents on a workable plan or something to help them get caught up. You could help with that if you want, or even spring for a foreclosure attorney to help them. They are asking me to pay it off. They have been having issues paying for the last 4 years, where they will often go multiple months without paying, only paying a portion, etc. In other words, this has been going on for years. 3 weeks ago was the first time my fiancé or I were aware of an issue because the bank is now fed up after multiple attempts to work with them. They have not paid anything for, I believe, 5 months at this point. Why does her family know how much you have in savings? Her family does not know. My fiancé knows and has asked me to use it. I guess you dodged the bullets with finding out how she really thinks about you before the wedding. Absolutely, you are not the a-hole. Her parents don't manage money well, thus a problem of their making, so they can figure it out for themselves. Exactly. Who's to say that once OP pays off their mortgage, they won't mismanage their money again and ask OP for a loan or gifted money? Oh, they definitely will mismanage money again, and then expect another bailout. OP stand firm on this. I promise you, they'll be in the financial crap with or without your bailout, so don't waste your money. I'd never ask my husband to help my family out of a mess of their own making if we actually had the money. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to tell my wife I love her more than my dad? This is a stupid argument, but we both think we're right, so I'll let Reddit decide. My dad babysat for us last night so we could go on a date. I picked him up and drove him over because he avoids driving at night these days. My wife and I said to put the baby down for the evening by 8. When we got back, my dad was sitting on the couch holding our sleeping baby. He said he was sorry the baby wasn't in the crib, but that he fussed whenever he tried to put him in the crib, so he just gave up and held him. My wife was upset and it was obvious. I took the baby to put him in the crib. When I went back into the living room, they were whisper arguing. I told my dad we should head back. He got in the car and I drove him home. He apologized for not putting the baby in the crib and said he was very fussy and probably just missed us and was anxious that we weren't the ones putting him down. I said he was probably right and that it was no big deal. When I got home, my wife was still upset. She asked me what my dad said about her. I said he didn't say anything about her, just apologized and said the baby probably missed us. My wife said the baby won't adjust to his sleep schedule unless it's consistent. I agreed with her and said it's been a long time since my dad took care of a baby, so we should cut him some slack. She asked why I was taking his side over hers. I said I wasn't, but that we had a great night and I didn't want us to let something minor ruin it. She said it isn't minor and that I'm supposed to back her up, not gossip about her with my dad. I said I didn't gossip about her. All I did was drive him home. She asked why I drove him home when she was clearly upset. I asked what else I was supposed to do. She said I could have ordered a ride share or a cab. I said the plan was always for me to drive him home. She said, right, because we have to stick with the almighty plan. I asked her why she didn't just tell me she wanted me to do something different. She asked if I would have if she had asked me to. I said I wasn't sure because of the cost and time delay. She said, exactly. I said we could have talked about it though. She said I'm always trying to sit on the fence when I should be on her side. I said I am on her side. She asked who I love more, her or my dad. I said that was a crazy question and that I wasn't going to answer it. She said she needed to know. I said I don't rank people I love. I love my wife as a wife and my dad as a dad. She says I'm an a-hole for not choosing her. I say I'm not, because I don't think love is a numbered list like some kind of Watch Mojo video. Not the a-hole, but cut her some slack. You didn't mention how old the baby is. Could she be experiencing PPD? I am assuming this is your first baby and the first time granddad babysat. Kudos for having a dad healthy, willing, and trustworthy enough to babysit an infant alone. Remind her that your dad accepts that he should follow the rules, and he'll know better next time, and has never said a word against her. If you can, just let the who you love more thing by gently assuring her she is the love of your life. No, I know. I'm not mad at her. Our baby is 4 months, so if she needs to vent her feelings, I'm okay with that. I just want to know if I should have said something different. I don't feel good about ever saying I love someone more. Love isn't quantitative to me. I love her as a romantic partner. I love my dad as a dad. I don't see one as more or less than the other, and I didn't want to lie. But should I have lied? Not yay-hole. Is your wife always this insecure about your love for her? That's a crazy question, which you answered as well as you could, I think. But does she normally think you're not on her team? You sound very reasonable to me, but we are only getting a snippet of things. Please think back if this is something she has said frequently in the past. Maybe she just needs some reassurance. You also don't mention how old your child is. Is she still adjusting to being a new mother? Are hormones or PPD in play here? She never asked me stuff like that before, and she never used to question if we were on the same team. She's been more irritable lately, but I figured that's normal. Our baby is 4 months, so I don't think it's weird she's lashing out a little bit. I guess my fear was that being understanding was verging towards being dismissive. Last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my ex-husband's ex-wife for money from her parents' estate for my son? I know my title is confusing. I will clear it up before I continue. I was married to Mark, and we have a son whom I will call Dan. We divorced when Dan was 10. 2 years later, Mark married Rita. She had a daughter from a previous relationship. I'll call her Abby. 8 years later, Mark and Rita divorced. I hope that clears up the relationships. Last year, Mark passed away. He was young and it was a terrible accident. I didn't love him anymore, but he was a good man and a fantastic father to our son. He left everything to Dan. Dan would much rather have his father back than this money, but he is in his 20s, and this gift can set him up for life. Not support him forever, but allow him to be debt-free and a homeowner much sooner than planned. Rita seems to think that some of that money should go to Abby. The will was clear. All of Mark's estate goes to Dan. I don't get anything, and I'm fine with that. We divorced amicably, and I was satisfied with our division of assets. I have also remarried, and my husband and I are comfortable. Rita says that because Mark was a father figure to Abby, she should have received money as well. The will is ironclad. Neither Rita nor Abby gets anything. Abby's father is in the picture, paid child support, and is an active part of her life. Rita received money when her parents passed away. She also got money when she divorced Mark. I asked to meet with Rita to settle this without lawyers. I said that she needed to give Dan some of the money she got from her parents. It would only be fair, since she was Dan's stepmom and hadn't contributed to his education or anything. She said I was being ridiculous and that it wasn't the same. I said she was asking for money for a child who wasn't blood-related to Mark, and I was asking for money for a child who wasn't blood-related to her. It was exactly the same. She says I'm being an a-hole and that my view of the situation is stupid. She thinks that, even though Mark's will is legal and clear, morally Dan should share with Abby. I just repeated that, morally. She should give Dan money, since she has financially supported Abby. I hope that was clear enough so you guys can say whether I am right or not. Why are you two even talking? I'm trying to keep her away from my kid. He's an adult. Is there any reason he needs your help here? Has he asked for it? She was in his life for 8 years. She knows how to manipulate him. And yes, he asked me to help. My very first suggestion was for him to get a lawyer. To settle it, so lawyers. Settle what? There is literally nothing to discuss here. If your son is the over 18 beneficiary, it isn't even a bone she can pick with you. You have no say here. It would be Dan's decision. No is a complete sentence. I know, but she is getting aggressive. Not the a-hole, but stop the communication. Seriously. She is gonna record you and you will end up giving her a foothold to sue over. She won't win, but you will still have to hire a lawyer if you insist on continuing the dialogue. The inheriting son is in his 20s. OP is not a benefactor. I don't see how anything she says gives stepmom grounds for anything. This is two people that aren't involved from the will standpoint, squabbling over things legally not their business. OP's logic is sound, but she should disengage and mute stepmom.